The MacPro 6,1 from 2013 is a magnificent piece of aluminium art. But is the Trashcan still usable in 2025? Let's find out. If YouTube recommended this video to you, you've probably already seen a couple of videos on the same topic. Some say it's worth buying, others say it's unusably slow. Today I will look at my personal needs for a computer and decide based on that. I bought this MacPro for 180 euros, equipped with a 1TB SSD, 32GB of RAM and the dual D500 FirePro GPUs. And originally it came with an 8-core Xeon, but I upgraded it to the 12-core variant. We could now blindly compare the MacPro Cinebench and Geekbench scores to my other machines and call it slow in comparison, but that's not what we're going to do. Looking at my Final Cut benchmark project, which consists of several 120 megabits bitrate 4K H.264 videos running on OS X Mavericks and Final Cut Pro X 10.1.4, it edited surprisingly well. It starts to struggle when it hits 4 simultaneous transitions across 4 4K streams, but even my M3 Pro stutters a bit at that point. If you open the project in Sequoia with the newest version of Final Cut Pro X, it struggles more, even though the media files and transitions are the same. Exporting the project, however, is a completely different story. The 2013 Mac Pro has no hardware video codec acceleration, so it basically means it has to brute force its way through the encoding using its 12-core CPU and dual FirePro GPUs. Normally, if you don't have hardware acceleration, the encoding happens purely on the CPU. But from what I saw in Final Cut, it's actually using the FirePro GPUs to help it render the video. But it really doesn't make it any better. This results in a hefty 200 watts plus power draw and a rendering time of 42 minutes and 32 seconds for a 12-minute video. The same export took just 6 minutes 30 on my M3 Pro. The difference would be even greater if I exported it to H.265. Using Handbrake to transcode the video to 1080p x265 takes 36 minutes and 14 seconds for one single pass, while the M3 Pro using its hardware accelerators took only 3 minutes 36 for all 2 passes. But what if you look at still images? Using already composed PNGs in Lightroom 5, which is very CPU reliant, editing works, but compared to the 8-core CPU, pictures load much longer. That's because the picture loading process is apparently a single-core process, while denoising, for example, seems to use all 12 cores. Lightroom 6 introduced GPU support, but only for a few scenarios. Exporting pictures takes a lot of time. I slightly edited 4 photos out of 44, and even the non-edited ones take quite a while to export. Using Adobe DNG converter to convert 100.cr3 files from my Canon to DNG files takes around 33 seconds on the Mac Pro and 22 seconds on the M3 Pro. Which is actually quite surprising because I thought that the Mac Pro will take much longer, but 10 seconds seems fine to me. Now let's compare the Mac Pro to a few other machines I own. In every CPU benchmark, as you see, it falls behind, even compared to my Surface Pro 9, which is a tablet with a 15 watt CPU. Granted, it boosts up to 65 watts, but the MacPro consumes 110 watts while running this test. In Geekbench's OpenCL benchmark, the D500 can actually pull off some wins against an integrated GPU and a power-efficient GCN4 GPU in an iMac. But you know what they say, a win is a win. Looking at the few games I play, Ori and the Blind Forest run smoothly at 4K 60 FPS almost all the time, dipping to around 55 FPS when too many effects are on the screen. L.t.P.G runs in 4K at around 35 FPS, which feels low given the graphics of this game. I think the culprit here is the 3GB of VRAM. Interestingly enough, L.t.P.G runs about the same on my Surface Pro 9 with the Iris Xe graphics. I thought we would test a new Unreal Engine 5 game, Subliminal.
I imagine you're feeling a tad disoriented.
Well, the game doesn't really run at all. I think the culprit here are the 3GB of VRAM. They're just not cutting it. By now, the game already looks butchered with my settings, and since graphics are important here, I'd say it's unplayable. Temperature wise, I was actually quite impressed. I mean, it can burn through half a kilowatt of power. It stays somewhat cool and still quiet with all 12 cores and both GPUs maxed out. The Trashcan's I/O consists of 4 USB 3 ports that apparently don't reach their 5 gigabit spec, more like 2.5 gigabits, and 6 Thunderbolt 2 ports that are practically useless today. Finding Thunderbolt 2 docks and accessories is nearly impossible, and if you do, they are shamelessly overpriced. Buying Apple's €40 TB2 to TB3 adapter plus a compatible Thunderbolt dock is another option, but if you spend that amount of money on top of the MacPro's purchasing price, you'd be probably happier with a different machine. You can also add eGPUs, but they're quite limited, and again you'd need a Thunderbolt 2 or Thunderbolt 3 compatible eGPU enclosure, which are expensive. Below the Thunderbolt 2 ports there is dual gigabit Ethernet, and below that there's an HDMI port with a 1.4 spec. The MacPro is a great looking machine and still somewhat capable. But compared to other options, I can't really say it's worth the money. For €200 you can get better and more upgradable machines. Even other Macs for the same amount might be better suited to your needs. For example, the iMac Retina 21.5 inch from 2017 might not beat the Mac Pro in multi-core performance, but in other tasks. It could be a better fit for you. Check out my video on that if you're interested.